So, my first question for you is in the spirit of obsessing over someone you admire,
Hmm.
especially with your new movie, do you have any crazy fan stories or situations you've been in?
Oh gosh. The bathroom pictures are always kind of interesting. um, but no, thankfully I have a funny saying, I think it's funny, that says you don't need security until you can afford security. And it's not my deal, thankfully. So I've mostly had good fan experiences. I've had amazing stories in that. I love when fans know how to get to you. They will sometimes like make you like knitted pieces, or like these little like dot drawings of my dog, and I frame those with pleasure like around my house like shrines. So they know how to connect with you. And some of my other favorite memories are meeting fans like one on one, and it's sometimes like a group of 10 of them, and you get to sit down and actually, it's not just a picture or a autograph where I know that that's the takeaway, that's their fun part. But like the fun part for me is what town are they from? What do their parents do? What kind of pets do they have? Like, why do they really love the show? Primarily was with Teen Wolf. So yeah, those are I guess my favorite fan experiences.
Do you think if you were in kind of like the movie universe, do you think you could have outsmarted your character Cassie's antics if you were placed in kind of like a 1v1 situation?
That's a great question. I'd like to think so. I think we'd all like to think so. I would like to say yes, just because I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to hopefully say yes. But I guess you never know until you're there.
So, what was your favorite part about diving into such an unhinged character like Cassie?
It was definitely hard at times, but it was also so much fun, to be such an alpha in so many of the situations that you find Cassie in. And it's out. I like the premise of this movie because I think it's a really good message to write a movie about all the different ways in which we now communicate in the world, with dating, with making friends, with sort of fanning out over things, with fitness obsessions. So much of that takes place not even online, but like in these apps. And so for me, you asked me, what was this question? What was the question?
Your favorite part about diving into a character like Cassie?
Yeah. So, for me, it was more the situation of the movie that I really loved diving into. But at the same time, it's outrageous, even though it's unfortunately true that we function in the world with this many devices on our phone. But for me, that was the wildest part, is diving into that. But at the same time, the situation was outrageous and obviously taken to an extreme in Cassie's case.
So going off of Cassie as an extreme example, but we all have someone in our life, especially with social media, that like we want to emulate and we especially admire. And with its prevalence, it's really hard, like seeing everyone live their best lives and like kind of feeling that pressure to be perfect. And as someone who's in the public eye, can you relate to both Summer and Cassie in that respect?
I mean, I've never felt the need. I think like professionally, I've been told post, 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 post.
Mm.
And I'll go through spurts where I'll kind of emulate that, maybe to a Summer-esque situation, but I've never really followed through with it on a regular basis. I am not a poster. Maybe that'll change one day, but my default as of now, and it has been for the last 10 years since Instagram came out, was I just don't post that often. I also think it has to do with my age. I'm not part of like the Gen Z world. And so I think that's a part of it. Is I just didn't picture my life like that. But I am trying to be better about it, because I engage, I guess, to the Cassie side. I love vans and sailboats and earth ships, basically like nomadic living. And I do find myself like daydreaming about people's rigs. I eventually, I looked at rigs for like 3 years with vans and ended up building one during quarantine in 2020. So as far as, you know, it just might not be fitness or makeup or clothes, but it certainly, I do have my thing on social media, and that's like unconventional living, you know, unconventional living, like unconventional lifestyle. So in that sense, I do have that Cassie part of me. And they're just like, you know, travel bloggers. But to me, they're like my TV shows. I absolutely love the building skill of some of these couples, and just the innovative way that they live their lives.
That's very interesting. And you announced in February that you will be returning to Beacon Hills for the Teen Wolf movie coming up, and that's really exciting. I wanted to ask what that phone call was like and how it feels to reunite with the cast after all this time.
The phone call was from Jeff Davis himself. So I love that Teen Wolf it stays a really close-knit family. It never feels more than like just one household, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like a show that aired in 55 countries. So that's nice that it still feels that way even shooting the movie. And it just felt like a day hadn't passed. It felt like we had found a time machine. And so lovely just to be around all those people you love again on an everyday basis. You know, it can kind of be a little groundhoggy when you film sometimes on location week after week after week, and you go a little stir crazy as a result. And that happens on, in my opinion, every project that's more than like 3 weeks. But in this case, because we were so familiar with Atlanta, because the group we were filming with is our family. And we also, you know, this wasn't a show. This beautiful time in our lives that we got to revisit was going to come to an end. So I, you know, even on days I didn't work, I would just like go hang out at set and really cherish those moments. I didn't go stir crazy. And if I did, I was happy to. So that's, yeah, it was just such a lovely blessing to be able to go back to Teen Wolf.
And your former castmate, Arden Cho, recently revealed that she wouldn't be a part of the Teen Wolf project. And a lot of fans were disappointed because it seemed like her story didn't have much closure. And I wanted to ask if you missed her on set and if you thought that there was more to her story.
I'm not familiar with the details of the story. I believe it was monetarily driven. I don't really know a lot about it. Of course, I wish she was there. And she's got this really cute dog. Like we have a similar kind of dogs. And so we would always try and get them together. They would kind of play, they kind of wouldn't play. But yeah, so I was bummed that she wasn't there. But I do know that with Teen Wolf, it's a tough one because we do it for the love of the show and not for the money. So, you know, I think it's always tough when it comes down to those situations, but I don't know the details of that story in particular.
Which couple you think is more of an OTP, Jackson and Lydia or Styles and Lydia?
Probably Styles and Lydia. Mm. It went on longer and it was a much more drawn out, anticipated couple. Mm. I, of course, can't let my like off-screen feel, you know, Colton's one of my best friends. So of course, I think Holland and Colton no TP, but definitely Stydia is for life. Yes.
And if you could describe your movie in one word or phrase, and then describe the Teen Wolf movie in one word or one phrase, what would it be?
The first part's described. Sorry, I broke up the like my life.
Obsessed to death.
Obsessed to death. Describe it in one word
or phrase. Yes.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. There was a different title to this movie that I think was a bit more coy than the current title, and it was called Ride or Die. And I think that term in general, like especially when you see like dudes say it, I just think it's so funny to me. And it was a play on of that current somewhat popular term. And I thought that was great. So ride or die would be like the term I'd put for this. What was the title of the movie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then for Teen Wolf, I think just home, you know, it's I'm just so grateful that it's never been a show. It was on a small network with small budgets. It's never something like we got rich off of. But it was something that I loved, and it's like very dear to my heart. And I know those people very well. And it was just something that I hold really dear to me. It's, you know, kind of where I blossomed and left the nest, so to speak. I really do feel like they're my family.